Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this session, putting the pieces together, how JiJi cultural professional learning and data monitoring get us to 100%. Our two guest speakers are Melisa Phillips, who has worked in education for nearly 20 years as a classroom teacher, school site enrichment specialist, and district instructional specialist from Webster Central School District. So wave. Okay. All right. And Alexandra Collison, am I saying that right?
That's
okay.
Right, Mary Jane.
Okay, very good. Is an elementary educator who has worked in Webster Central School District for 23 years. Alexandra enjoys coaching teachers to successfully navigate curriculum and educational technology by blending her wealth of content knowledge and natural teaching style. Take it away, ladies.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited that you picked us to spend some time with us. Is it morning where everybody else is? Because it's afternoon where we are. Still morning for everybody
Like
else.
lunchtime for you.
Yeah. So if you just want to type into the chat, we'd like to get to know you a little bit. So you'll see on the screen there, it says, we want to know who you are, what state you're coming to us from, and then where your building is on your ST journey. So giving us a 1 if you're just getting started, a 2 on your way, or a 3 if you're an experienced user. And we just like to know kind of where we're at right now with what our ST math usage is. Great, seeing some friends from Texas joining us. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen. Sunny Southern California. It's not sunny in Webster, New York right now.
It is rainy and cold, and we're getting a lot of wind today. Nice. And a lot of people that have similar roles than us, Alexandra, where they're instructional specialists. So that'll be great to kind of connect that way.
That's great.
Awesome. All right, let's take a look at our targets for our next 30-ish minutes that we're going to spend some time together. We tried to stay really focused, and this was a lofty goal for us because there's so many things that we want to share because we truly do. We love ST Math, we love Mind Research, we love JiJi. So we really tried to stay focused on there, but if you have questions that kind of come along because it triggers something that we say, to please type those into the chat, and Mary Jane's going to help us monitor that so we make sure that we get your targets met too. So we are going to talk a little bit about JiJi culture in Webster and what that's looked like from both our building roles that we have and our district lens. We're going to talk about our intentional design of professional learning and how that's impacted our ST Math usage. And then one of our favorite parts is to talk a little bit about how we're monitoring data, setting goals, and celebrating success with our teachers and administrators. So we're really excited to share those with you. Is there any other targets that you're hoping when you saw like our thing that you're hoping that we might talk to you guys about? Nope. Okay, good. So these are the kind of pillars that we'll talk about for the next little bit about our JiJi culture and celebrations, how we monitor data and our professional learning. And one of the core structures as part of Webster is collaboration. And that one of the strategic moves that we made very early on was that we knew that not just one person could hold up JiJi, not one person could hold up ST Math, but that really we needed to help have teachers and administrators, our instructional coaches, everybody from the building lens all the way through to district lens could really support and embody everything that ST Math could provide to our students. So we're excited to share some of that with you today.
So I'm going to start talking about our JiJi culture and celebrations. And actually at the initial stage of our implementation, we heard loud and clear from Mind Research that building the JiJi culture was critical in our success of our implementation. And to be honest, we initially doubted the power of a penguin, but our students and teachers embraced JiJi and the fact that JiJi models the things that we believe about perseverance and resilience. We wanted to make sure that JiJi was visible in lots of ways. And so we also wanted that to be simple and quick and have a big impact. So over the past 3 years, since our first year of implementation, our culture has shifted from where we led the JiJi culture, as Melisa and I have as teacher coaches, to making sure that it's led by our classrooms and our buildings and the rest of our administrators. And we see this impact in our classroom celebrations and awards. So we have some ongoing culture and celebrations. We have special events, and we spend time with our individualized celebrations. All right.
So one way that we do that is our classrooms have morning meetings. So we use Responsive Classroom in Webster. And so each morning our classrooms and our kiddos meet together to kind of gather to do a wellness check-in, talk about targets for the day. And one of the things that came up for us is a lot of our classrooms celebrate JiJi and ST math goals and gains during those morning meetings. So this would be an example of an ongoing thing that is happening. So in this case, we have a group of 5th graders that were really excited about meeting that 60 puzzle goal that they had set out for the beginning of the week. But we love the aspect of this is also connecting to family. So like the fact that we're doing a picture, there's a certificate, we're making it super important. And we'd like to take credit for this. But one of the things that's happened is over the course of time, we've set up ways to gather feedback from our teachers and all of the amazing things that they're doing. And then we can share that back with other teachers. So like if they're wondering, oh, I wonder how to celebrate it, I'm not sure like what would be a simple way to do that. We're gaining some of those experiences from our other classrooms. And we've learned that again, like a picture, a certificate, things like that are just making major gains for our kiddos.
So some of our special events that we host, you probably know about JiJi Day in late April. And we kind of build our April around JiJi Spirit Day and JiJi Day and our Community Arts Day. And these are some events that our teachers and students really get excited about. Our classrooms, as you can see, celebrate with games and crafts. We say to wear black and white. They walk and like penguins down the halls. Our teachers created their own t-shirts so that they could be part of this JiJi Spirit Day. And so last year we had our JiJi Spirit Day in conjunction with a special event that our community has. It's our Community Arts Day, and our PTSA, our Parent Teacher Student Organization, puts on a day in our district where we celebrate the art and the work of our students. And so we thought, what a perfect way to connect with families and to highlight ST Math as one of our most valuable programs in Webster. It was our first year attending with our life-size JiJi, thanks to Karen, our success manager, and it was a huge success. We were able to engage families in learning more about ST Math and definitely immerse them in the JiJi culture. They learned how to do ST Math with some of our examples. And there were lots of parents that had even said that they are challenged by JiJi's puzzles. So that was refreshing for our kids and our parents to work together. We also have JiJi special events where JiJi comes and makes a little visit to special classrooms. We have our JiJi plushies that we've gotten from the Mind Research store that also makes appearances to help classrooms celebrate their success too.
One of the other things that we started last year was that we wanted JiJi to have a connection personally with kiddos. And we know we are constantly monitoring puzzles and minutes, and that's part of the spirit of the program. And so setting goals and recognizing that. But we also recognize that for some kiddos, that puzzle challenge can feel like a lofty goal for them, and that sometimes minutes can create some stress. And so something that we started last year was we set up a way for teachers to celebrate individualized growth with kiddos and to get a personalized letter from JiJi. So we set this up on a Google form that would generate a letter that the kids would get a personalized letter from JiJi, and that we left it very open-ended so that teachers could celebrate if a kiddo had finished their journey. We could celebrate it so that if a kiddo had overcome an objective that they had been struggling on and they really showed some perseverance, it was a way to really celebrate some more individualized like goals that kids would be working on that may not be measured by puzzle puzzles, or a kid that was consistently doing a lot of puzzles all year long and you wanted to kind of celebrate that in a different way. So we set this up a couple of times a year where kids teachers can submit kids, and we want as many kids to get celebrated as possible. But it was just a simple thing, but that personalization and getting a letter from JiJi, and the kids almost like chase you around the hallway with it. Like, I got a letter from JiJi, and it's just, they're so excited to get that personal recognition of like the goals that they've been working on. And it really does help us to recognize that JiJi does encourage us to take risk. It does encourage us to collaborate. It encourages us to work together. And that with that, we're kind of building that learning community.
So one of the second pillars or pieces that we talked about in, oh, let me get it moving here. Got a couple different screens open here. There we go. Is our data monitoring piece. And this actually, we learned how to do some data monitoring on all three levels between our classrooms, our schools, and our district. And the success of ST Math, we know, is directly measured by our usage. And so we make that data important. And we encourage data monitoring from our teachers, our administrators, and our coaches. So for example, as a classroom example of classroom data monitoring, if we notice that a class is not regularly meeting a puzzle goal, we're able to connect with them and find out why. If they're having a hard time finding time in their day, we can brainstorm together to find solutions where all students have access to ST Math, because it is about equity and access in the program. We consult with PLCs to help them read their ST Math data and plan for their celebrations. And because ST Math is an instructional program, we coach teachers to use ST Math if they want to integrate more small group learning. So if a student is working on ST Math, we can be assured that they are receiving the instruction that is appropriate and high quality, along with instruction from a small group in the classroom with the teacher. And we also make our data super important by making it visible. So as a school, we have bulletin boards and celebration walls. Our morning announcements celebrate success for top puzzlers or top classrooms. And our administrators are also provided opportunities to look at data through their weekly emails and talking with coaches to help ST Math be as successful as possible in the building. And finally, at the district level, you heard Melisa talk a little bit about the JiJi letter, but we also have district level challenges that are focused on increasing our usage. And when we monitor data, we set strategic goals, maybe over a course of a month or a course of a week. And at the end of the month, our classrooms get trophies or golden trophies to hang outside their doors, and stickers to celebrate their hard work. So monitoring data and celebrating go hand in hand.
So one thing that's connected to our data monitoring is around an awareness of like what data is important. It's hard, I think, when you're in a classroom to recognize like, are my kids using it? I feel like a lot of times in the beginning of our implementation, some teachers didn't know, like, I hate to say the word like how far behind they were, but they thought like they were getting kids on, they were making time for it over the course of the week, and that like obviously the puzzles would look great. Without the awareness of like looking at their dashboard to really look at that progress. And so last year, one of the things that we did is each month at the beginning of the month would release kind of like the new challenge or the expectation. And this was, while it's our third year, we like to kind of say it was our second year because the first year was really during that initial COVID year. And so that implementation looked different only because most of the time our kids were doing it for homework and it was not happening within the school day. And so that's kind of like a important part of like our story. And so we're into year 3, but we're kind of like year 2, 2.5. And so last year it was the first time that teachers were seeing it for the in their classrooms and kids were using it regularly. And so one of the things that we did was we would create these challenge weeks. And so we would look at their data over the course of a certain week within the month and say we would hope to see like higher usage that was there. in hopes that it would kind of have an overflow into other parts of their week or other parts of their month. So thinking if you did it, week 3 of November, then you might say, hey, that was great, I'm going to also use it the next week. But that just kind of creating this importance of using the program. Because in some cases it's hard to like build confidence around something that you haven't used before. So this was a way to say, like, we're not asking you to do it every day yet. We're just saying maybe during the course of this week, this burst week, you might find that there's an added value to your program and for your students. So connected to that, we would create a burst week. And then we always attached a little snippet of PD connected to it. Nothing that was super lofty, but like just a little bit of a burst that would let people know from mind research, like, here's this little taste of like something you might learn, takes you 5 minutes to do. And we tried to also include like a feedback form about that. Like, I learned this idea from reading this and now I'm going to do this. Because we wanted feedback from our teachers to say, hey, I really liked this article, or hey, I really liked the goal setting sheets and now I'm using them in the classroom, just to kind of get that ebb and flow of like what we were doing, was it working? And so that was last year. And then this year it kind of shifted for us a little bit because our usage is looking a lot different. Alexandra, you want to talk about like how our monthly PD challenges changed?
Our PD challenges and our expectations from just a burst week throughout a month to really thinking about our percent progress. And so in our monthly challenges that we sent to our entire district, you can see a little bit of a change. We are focused more on percent complete, and each month and we are in school for 10 months in Webster, New York. So we try and have about a 10% increase in our usage per month. Ultimately, we want all of our students to reach that 100% by the end of June, our school year. And so we kind of give a stretch goal for our classes that are high performing classes, and a goal that's going to help most of our kids meet that at least 75% progress that we know is important to get the most bang for your buck in the ST Math usage. So this is an example of this past November's challenge, where we're also providing that PD burst. Also, we wanted teachers actually to have an understanding of what an alert means on their dashboard. So you can see all of these pieces of our puzzle are fitting together through our challenges, our PD, and our data monitoring. So this challenge drove our teachers to the data monitoring dashboard, where they can check their alerts, and they learned how to figure out how to help students become unstuck. So we provided some facilitating questions or problem solving stems that were provided by ST Math, so that they had access to help their kiddos. So definitely a transition from one year to the next. And throughout the rest of this year, we've talked a lot about, we really want to get our journey to 100%. And so each month, we just increase it a little bit more. And also, in addition to that, not just our teachers know, but our teachers help our kids to realize their goals. And so they make these visible in their classrooms. This is an example of how a teacher has taken their average puzzle goal and each week puts it up on for their morning meeting. So, and keeps track of how their goals are as a class. And then we do have teachers that reflect on their progress and celebrate with little wins and dances and movement breaks when they get to a percent progress. And our students know how to check their percent progress on their ST Math and their own ST Math accounts. And we have classrooms that individuals are graphing towards goals. And so having our teachers and our administrators not only know how to data monitor, but our students are able to do that too.
So one of the other arcs that we knew was really important was professional learning. And this is something that we knew on the onset that we had to take on and be really strategic and intentional about when we were bringing people together, what we were bringing them for, and how could we build a better understanding so that we knew that that would increase usage in learning for children. And so again, because of this adoption in this weird time of COVID, it created us ways to kind of think about professional learning in ways that we hadn't before. So you see these two pillars that are here. So some of the professional learning that we did was asynchronous. So we used technology to our advantage, and we used things like emails and like linking them to mind research blogs and articles of experts in the field. We also created things like Nearpods so that if there was something specific that they could learn on their own time, we gave them kind of a window of a time with feedback, but the ability to kind of have control over not what they were learning, but when they were learning it. And we found that a lot of teachers really benefited from like having some more control of being like at home and learning about mind research on a Sunday, because that was a time that worked for them. And so that was something new and stretched us in ways because we had never really looked at professional learning from that way. And gratefully, the Learning Academy that's there was like a really great place to be able to send people information. And we are grateful in Webster that we can pay people for work like that. So we were able to kind of provide them money for their time and their learning that they were doing. But we did also know that we needed to bring people together so that they could feel the JiJi spirit and the JiJi community. So even though asynchronous was a really great part of this, we knew that we needed people in the room to talk about JiJi together and talk about what they were learning as they were seeing their kids doing it. So we provided some synchronous opportunities. So some of that was from us leading it. So we would bring people together after school. We would do some work in the summer. We actually did a lot of work of connecting ST Math to our math program to say like these things work together. They're not in isolation. And how do both of these resources work together? We were also fortunate to bring ST Math to our district. And so we had opportunities where they came and did things both virtually and virtually synchronously, so like an after school workshop where we had presenters come and facilitate conversations, but we also had them come on campus a few times. So we had a superintendent's conference day, and we had mind research folks come and facilitate conversations with teachers and administrators. So we were really grateful to kind of have this. We knew that we needed to kind of have both asynchronous and synchronous, but we also knew that we couldn't just have learning happening outside of the classroom, that in order for this to be successful, we needed coaching to exist in the classroom. And so again, we had some on-site professional learning that happened from mind research. Karen came and visited. We had some puzzle talks that happened with some of that learning and our own understanding. We've led puzzle talks with our teachers, particularly connected to the data. So to say like some of our classrooms that were a little bit more resistant, like, how can we support you? How could we come to a puzzle chat? We noticed that you're not using this. Like, how can we help? You're about to launch into fractions. Like, have you ever seen the ST Math fractions objective in 4th grade? This would be a great puzzle chat that we could do. And this is gonna like help support your kids' learning and really being intentional about supporting kids in that way and supporting in learning. So we kind of made sure that we were folding in both asynchronous and synchronous, and also like, yes, after school workshops and in summer workshops, but we also know that the best learning can happen within the classroom and making sure that kids are a part of that learning journey.
We are so fortunate in Webster to have a really robust system for professional learning. And so we maximize that by using our mind research learning specialists and Karen and Hannah Rose, and the things that we learned from you, we're able to turnkey and do in our classrooms. We offered a professional learning series that we called Enhancing Instructional Practices Using ST Math. And we had a series in the fall and the series in the spring that ran for part of our virtual professional learning. And one of them was the data tracking and goal setting. And they came, Hannah Rose and Karen and Melissa and I and other coaches helped our teachers to recognize some best practices and to find some resources that help our students be successful in their journey to 100%. So we had lots of different types of goal setting that happened, some using the ST Math goal sheets, some creating classroom goals. and even some buildings creating whole building puzzle goals to reach that they're working toward. And so we have seen an increase in usage with our data tracking and monitoring and goal setting for students and teachers.
As Alexandra said, in the beginning of our journey, we did a lot of the lifting because we were the closest to the program and closest to understanding at the time. And we're really grateful that 3 years in, or 2.5 years in, that started to shift. And so for a long time, we were the ones facilitating the puzzle chats. We were the ones that were looking at the curriculum and saying, hey, this would be a really great puzzle chat for your kiddos. And because, again, we've created professional learning that includes a component of feedback forms, we've been able to showcase things like what this teacher is saying around her leading puzzle chats 2 to 3 times a week, and that their class is leading that. And so again, that's such a great shift and celebration for us because there's more people doing the work and more people seeing added value, and that's really attributing to the learning. And I just love that we're calling things a thinking task. I love that we're persevering together. I love that classrooms are looking through that growth mindset lens and saying, how can we collaborate together on this rather than any kid feeling like they're doing that alone. And I think that shifts just the mindset around math learning in general, and that it's not a performance. It's really about what are the lenses that we're looking at this task through and how can we all work together to get better.
This is one of my favorite pictures. It's a picture of our some of our teachers in our new professional learning space once we were able to get back to in-person synchronous learning. And so while we had offered a lot of virtual, this was just a wonderful celebration to get together and talk about how ST Math supports our beliefs about teaching and learning math. And Melisa had mentioned that we believe that math is about learning and not performing. And JiJi helps us to realize that perseverance and resilience are important, and a growth mindset, and very strongly believe in building our conceptual understanding before our procedural fluency. And so ST Math was definitely the right choice for us. And we have a lot of believers and a lot of people that are supporting our students and believing in themselves, and to also believe that productive struggle and resilience are important for their learning too. So we just wanted to ask you, how do you celebrate your ST Math progress and usage in your school? And maybe we can learn a little bit from each other today. So if you want to pop on or put something in the chat about how you celebrate ST Math, we would love to hear from you. Or if you have any questions for us at this time, now's a good time to pop on and ask or throw something in the chat, and we'd be happy to answer. Mary Jane, we've seen Steve Line one before in lots of places. We know that's some of his tagline, right? Same with Joe.
Yep.
Oh, we have somebody that celebrates JiJi's 100th day of school with an assembly. That 100th day of school for us is this week. I think it's tomorrow in Webster.
Something that I'm kind of thinking, because attending the conference is making my brain explode with ideas. But I was thinking, like, maybe at staff meeting every trimester displaying where we are as a grade level, and then classroom wise we have hallways, so it would be kind of fun where the classes can see like a competition between each other, like, oh, you know, the teacher across the hall is at 25 but we're at 27. So yep. I don't know, just thinking of ideas of how to promote it and how to build that excitement around it. I think I'm getting lots of good ideas.
I love that. Yeah, and outside of my office and our main hallway, I have a bulletin board that has the top puzzling classrooms for the week. And that is included of like the top grade level so that they can see that there's like a collaboration that could be happening. And I, on a whim, created the 100 puzzle challenge. So any classroom where their class average was higher than 100, they get like special recognition. And that, like for my more intermediate classrooms, are very motivated because they want their name on that piece of paper and they want to hear their name on the announcements. And so just that little, like, it doesn't take a lot. I just check on Monday morning, like who got over 100 puzzles, and that celebration is like sticking with my like 4th and 5th grade teachers.
As we get closer to that 100%, when our kiddos are in that challenge objective, right? We see a lot of kids spending a lot of time, but might not be top puzzlers. So we also celebrate top minutes, like how many minutes you spent on ST Math too. And so that's good, so that kids can recognize that even though they're not earning as many puzzles because they're in a challenge objective, they still are being recognized for their usage.
Mariana, that's a really great question. One thing is there is the JiJi store that you can purchase things. But if you, I don't know if we have it linked to the slides, but if you look up JiJi certificates, like if you type into Google ST Math certificates, there's a whole page of different awards that are reproducible and printable that you can, like, they're writable. So like you can type in whatever you want to celebrate for kiddos. That is something that we've used a ton, which is
where is that?
on the Mind Research blog.
Yeah, if you go to ST Math Help and you just type in celebration resources, a lot of things come up. They're PDFs, and you can type into PDFs.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Thanks, Taylor. They're linking them there.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
And you can make them say like whatever you want to celebrate. You can type that into it and make it personalized for whatever that is.
Somebody had asked about the form, Melissa, the one that we used to generate the personalized JiJi letter. And actually, we did that through a Google form and a form, the form generator that, what's it called? Now I just lost it, but form publisher. So you enter into a Google form, and then we have something that form publisher just spits out the personalized letter for everybody, and then we can print it or send it via a digital link for teachers to get for their kiddos.
We also, I know we didn't talk too much about it, but on the Mind Research blog also is the JiJi Passport. So we use that. All of our students in our whole building have them. And then when they meet their goal, they get a JiJi sticker to keep track of it through the course of time. And we do set monthly goals, but we're in the belief of like whenever a classroom achieves that goal, that's when they've earned that sticker. And so each month has like a different color sticker that the kids can kind of, again, celebrate their growth over the course of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing, because we want, again, it's not, we believe all learners learn in their own time. Everybody can achieve the goal, whether it takes you a little bit longer. So that was a shift in our awarding some of those stickers and trophies this year. You can still earn the sticker in your own time. We just have to keep track of that. Yeah, some people say they post the number of puzzles that they saw for the week and for individual classrooms. Lots of great ideas. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything, just one key takeaway that you have after today's session? We would love to hear your feedback. What's an idea that you are excited to try now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to say that I love how when you're doing these challenges that you're including like the PL part or the blog post for teachers, because you just get so busy and don't have time to even look at all of those things, but they're so important. And like the part about including the alerts, like it's kind of holding, both parties accountable of supporting each other and making sure that teachers understand the alerts, because like I said, we all get so busy that sometimes we don't have that time to check in So just like bringing it back up and saying like, this is really important, and make sure that you're looking at that and doing that through a challenge. I think just like putting all of those pieces together makes it so like low lift for student or for teachers, but such a high impact for the whole classroom. And you guys
Thank
are doing
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, I love the idea of including JiJi in a 100-day celebration too, Mary Jane.
Mhm.
So. Great. Well, like Mary Jane said, our slides are attached in the Whova. And you can access, or you can, let's see, here I'm going the wrong way. If you want to contact either of us, you can.
We like friends. We're a good time.
We're a good time. We're good at
So
time.
find us on Twitter, email us for sure. And let us know all the great things that you're doing.
Yes. So thanks everybody for coming.